Okay, it looks like we are live. Welcome everybody to the 29-minute hangout. This is Chef Doug. I'm here with Chef Katrina and a very special guest tonight. We are here to share some secrets with you from a guest who is he works more than full-time, like a lot of us do. So if you are, looking forward to your retirement, like our guest is, and want to create an additional stream of income online and you're part-time, this is the guy that's going to show you how to do it. So I'm here with my partner, Chef Katrina. And Chef Katrina, why don't you take care of the logistics and let everybody know. We only have 29 minutes to do this. So we'll go ahead and do this. This is the 29-minute hangout. And Katrina, it's all yours.
All right, guys, so we are live with the 29-minute hangout. So rules of engagement are you're allowed to be as active and engaging as possible. You are to pick Bob's brain as much as possible. So if you have questions about what it takes to be a part-time marketer, what are the strategies that you have to do every single day, then Bob is your guy. He has figured it out. He has in the nooks of crannies of being a doctor, and if it's anything like being a chef, it's horrible. You have no time. Your hours are crazy. You think you sleep, but you actually are awake, and when you're awake, you think you're asleep. It's horrible. It's just crazy, right? And you've got tons of things going on. You can't get to the internet because they won't let you, right? They tell you you can't go near your phone, you can't do anything. So how do you build a business online part-time? And that's what we brought in. We'll call him Dr. Bob today. We're just going to go Dr. Bob online. He is our part-time marketing guru. But I am super excited to have you here with us tonight. I cannot wait to see what you share with us in 29 minutes because I have a feeling it's going to be intense and it's going to be fun. So we're already 2 minutes in, so I'm going to shut up. And the first thing we're going to ask you, and the audience is going to ask you questions because they're really good about asking people questions, and they ask some really good ones. So be careful, okay? This could get really, really weird very quickly. First question is, do you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about how you got into this industry. And basically introduce yourself and tell us a little bit how you got into this internet network marketing world.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. This is I'm just honored to be on the 29-minute hangout. I've been wanting to do it for weeks, so grateful to be here. And what you say, Katrina, about not having time during your day and you can't get on the internet. My very first tip. You go to the bathroom a lot, and you bring your phone. Okay. So that's the first thing. And they might think something's wrong with you, but it doesn't matter. All right. So anyway, my name is Bob Clarke. I am a full-time reproductive physiologist. I supervise an infertility lab here in New York City. So basically, we help couples who are having trouble conceiving. We help them start a family. It's very rewarding. It's a really fun job, but I've been doing it for 25 years. My eyesight and my hand-to-eye coordination are not what they used to be. So about 5-6 years ago, my wife and I talked, and we, what? We want to retire on our own terms. This is more my thing because I'm older than her, but I want to retire on my own terms. I wanted to dictate my own retirement. We decided to start a home business, and I didn't have any idea what I was doing. I just read a pamphlet in the barber shop about MLM and thought that sounded cool. And of course, I don't really need a barber shop anymore. But I can see Katrina laughing there about that. But back then, 6 years ago, I needed a haircut, and I picked up a magazine, and there was an MLM advertisement there, so that got me started. And then it's been going on from there. So that's how I got into the industry.
Did you stay with the initial MLM that you found in the brochure?
No, I've now been in 4. Failed at each one. When I say failed, didn't know enough to succeed. Let me put it that way. And then in my 5th one, they closed. So I've been around. I've been around the MLM industry a lot. I understand the struggles of what it is to build an MLM, and it's. It takes a while. I don't know many people who come in and make it work right away unless you have some prior experience.
So what's been your biggest learning curve, I guess, over the past couple of years with going through these different MLMs? You said that you kind of failed in each one, but was there like a common denominator that was the reason why you failed?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was me. It's never a company's fault. I don't think it's ever a company's fault. It's not a comp plan. It certainly wasn't my sponsor. I'm just this nerdy little guy in a laboratory who likes to do science. I never sold anything. I came in there, and it's weird, because you guys know you're really professional in one area of your life, and you're looked up to, and in different ways. And then you go into this separate area where you're starting from scratch. You know nothing, and I'll be honest. Probably the biggest hurdle I had to overcome, guys, was my ego. My ego to let down my guard enough to ask for help, and to not try and reinvent everything, and to think that I should know it, and to feel guilty when it wasn't working. And I went through all this stuff, and it really took me a couple of years to get through it, and finally get up the nerve or drop my ego enough to just say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. What I'm doing isn't working, so somebody help me out here. And when I did that and found the right people who could help me out, everything changed.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally relate to that because it's you are in when you're in your own industry, you know everything that you need to do, and you know what you don't know. But when you go into something new, you don't know what you don't know. It's like you're just so lost, and you're right. It's not natural to ask for help when you're accustomed to being very competent at what you're doing. And so, go ahead.
I'm sure you guys had the same situation. I went through 14 years of schooling and training to get where I am today. And years of experience. So, you don't start out in any industry, in any profession, knowing everything and being at the top of your game. And that comes with experience, and it comes with knowledge, and it also comes with being able to ask for help.
Yeah. I mean, when you start out, when you first started in school, you talked about you had 14 years of education and experience to get to where you feel competent and really an expert at it. But when you started out, you knew that you didn't know stuff, and so it's okay to ask for help there. You're asking for people to teach you how to do it. But once you've gone through that process of where you're consciously incapable of doing it, and then you become consciously capable of doing stuff, and then you move on to where you go on to those next steps, and you become so good at it that now you're unconsciously capable of it. You can do it without even thinking about it, and you can't even teach people how to do about it because you forgot how you learned. And then to go back to the point where it's like I'm starting out and I don't even know what it is I need to learn yet, and I need to ask for help. And that's what it is when you get into the world of internet marketing. It's like learning a foreign language. It's like learning, how to be an expert at anything. And it's just one of those things that doesn't come natural to us once we've gone through that progression in another field. It's hard to go back to square one and say, hey, I need help. And so there's a lot of places where you can get that help. It's just being willing to say, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to put my ego aside, like you said. And this
the greatest thing.
I talk too much. You talk, Bob.
No, I'm going to say, you're right. You hit on the nail on the head. But the greatest thing about this industry is you don't have to go to school for 14 years. You can earn while you learn. You can actually make money while you're learning, which I couldn't do in my other profession. So that's the really cool stuff about this.
I will say that Hillary agrees. With the way you guys have been talking about, coming in and just having to learn this and ask for help. Hillary definitely says that's true. And I actually got a great question from Bernadette, from Bernie for Bob. This is a good question for you. It says, it says, while you're going through the struggles and you're not seeing the results, what keeps you going, especially knowing that you're not doing well?
That's a great question. For me, it was my vision. I knew what I wanted, and I knew that this was the best chance I had of getting what I wanted, of living that life after retirement on my own terms. I saw enough people, and I think that's one of the keys, guys, is, and they say go to live events, but it's right. I mean, you go to live events, you see people on stage who are having success, and you know you could do that. You know you can. You just haven't figured it out yet. And that's what kept me in the game, was even though I wasn't succeeding, I was seeing enough progression that I felt good, like, okay, something, I got my first lead, okay, or I got the first person commenting on my blog, or whatever the little milestone was. You have to celebrate those. And, seeing other people actually having the success that I wanted really helped me a lot, really kept me in.
I would say, like, have that validation that people are doing this in this industry, and maybe I'm missing an ingredient, but being around these people, something is going to fall into place, right?
Right. Well, the internet's funny, right? Because you think, oh, it's on the internet, it has to be true, right? But people can put on anything they want on the internet. But it's another thing to actually go to these events and talk to people, and realize, they're seeing real results, and then they just maybe throw you a tip here and a tip there that helps you out. That's why, people say, oh, everybody's always telling me to go to live events. That's why. It's not for the training. I don't go for the training. I mean, it's great if I learn stuff there, but I go for the validation. I go there to see, hey, look at this person who made six figures, in this business. I'm just like this person. I could do that. I just need some more time and some more tricks up my sleeve to do it. So that's why I go.
You do. I will say that going to live events, you kind of connect with different leaders, either through their style or what they're doing. You're like, you know what, that's some way that I could do this. But you don't really get that feeling until you're sitting there in front of them, and either in the audience or you're talking to them on the sidelines, being like, I get that. Like, I get where you're coming from. I understand where you're at, and I see this as an opportunity, and I'm not going to give up, because I've seen too many people be successful. They've started at zero, absolutely nothing, and they've risen to success in here. So I get that.
Yep.
Hillary's got another question for you. And this is a good one, actually, is how long does it take to see success? How long did it take you to see success? How long did you go through this process before you found your first lead, your first sale, and to get where you are today?
Okay. Started my business in 2008. 2 years of nothing, unless you want to count paying my daughter's way into my MLM, which I don't count. So 2 years of basically nothing. And then I found a group of people who taught me how to start doing stuff on the internet. And that was a big change for me, because I was trying to do the home parties. I was trying to do everything offline. And you guys know your time is really tough, and I was really struggling with that. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel confident. And I almost gave up a couple times. There were some times where I wondered, maybe I can find something else. But when I got turned on to the internet, that was a big deal for me, because then I could make things move much faster, and got involved with some marketing systems. One in particular in the beginning that really helped me out. Probably in 2 years of nothing. That third year, I generated my first lead, and that was a big deal. I did it online, and I thought that was really cool. Still not much. It wasn't until about the fourth year, and I told the story before. I think it's a very cool story. People ask me, do you remember your first sale? And I remember my first sale, because I was sitting in my living room, and I was a part of this marketing system, and they have great upsells and this and that, and I got an email, and it said, you have a commission. And I've never seen that before, and I was like, I wondered if, it's just one of those emails that says you have a commission, and it's like a fake title, and so I open it up, and they're like, congratulations, you just made a $4,500 sale. And I was flipping out. That was like, and don't get me wrong, this isn't normal. Usually it's a $7 sale, a $10 sale. I just happened to get lucky that the system worked, and somebody bought the upsell. But it was awesome. It was such an awesome feeling, and it was my first one. And then after that, nothing for a while, right? So I got up this high, and then thinking, this is easy, I'm going to blow this away, and then bam, back down for a while. And there's a series of these, ups and downs and ups and downs. It just doesn't level off for a while. But I just took it as, okay, I'm seeing something, so I just have to keep going and following the right people. And if I can do that, I know I'm going to see more success. So, to answer the question, 2 years of nothing, third year my first lead, fourth year more leads, my first commission, and then it went up fast after that. After I started, really basically working with the people who I work with now.
I mean, and you can say the system. You're part of was the first marketing system you were involved with, was that My Lead System Pro?
No, it was not. It was a system called Carbon Copy Pro.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't even know if it still exists anymore. I'm not sure. But back then it was the first.
Okay.
And it was hot, and it was sexy, and all the top people were in it. That's how I met Doug, right, Doug?
No, I was not in that. But,
I thought that's how I met you.
I know.
Anyway.
I know a number of people who were in it, but they split up into at least 2 companies at this point. So
it was the system before MLSP basically.
Right, and that's where
kind of the first one.
You guys came out of Carbon Copy Pro and created MLSP, and there's been so many leaders that have grown out of that whole deal. I want to ask you. I mean, this is something because you have become a real expert in the realm of part-time marketing, and so I want to ask you, what are the, I guess, the secrets to being able to create another stream of income online part-time when you're working full-time?
That's a good question. A few things I would say. Number one is you got to stop thinking of yourself as a part-timer. It almost becomes a crutch that I was guilty of using. You start finding yourself using the phrases like "I'm only part-time," and if you say that enough to yourself or to your prospects, that's not going to get you very far. So the first thing I would say is forget the part-time stuff. Ray Higdon says it best. I thought it was the best quote I've heard maybe in my whole marketing life. He's like, if you're not getting results part-time, going full-time won't help. And I think that nails it. I mean, part-time cannot be an excuse. That's number one. Number two is, and Katrina alluded to it, you got to start fitting in your business wherever you can in your day. I teach a lot about what to do when you have blocks of time. Like if you have 2 hours, what you can do with 2 hours, and that's fine. But there's weeks I don't have 2 hours a day in a block of time to work. So you got to fit it in. You got to maybe make phone calls in the car on the way home, or write a blog post at lunch, or whatever you can do, or go to the bathroom a lot and listen to mindset tapes, whatever it is. That has helped me a lot into trying to fit things. When I'm waiting at the doctor's office for something, I sometimes I'll sneak out of the doctor's office. I'll go into the lobby, and I'll cut a video. It sounds silly, but it's got to be done, and it's done fast. So before you know it, you've got a lot of your stuff done, and then when you get home, you relax a little bit, and you do have a little bit of time to kind of pull things together and do it. So that's another one of my biggest things is don't wait. I think a typical mistake that part-timers make is don't wait for a block of time for your business, because you could be waiting for a long time to do that. Between work and your family and everything else going on in your life, sometimes those blocks don't come up.
Right. So you don't have blocks of time, and you fit stuff in wherever you can. What is your primary marketing strategy? I mean, how do you, what have you kind of zeroed in on that you found that's been most effective for you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as free. There's no free marketing, because free either involves money or time. Part-timers don't usually have much time. So I do both, but I tend to gravitate more toward paid marketing if I can, if it makes sense. I've been really concentrating the last 6 to 8 months on building my list up with my own trainings and things. So I've been doing a lot of Facebook video ads. Mm-hmm. That's really been very powerful for me, because I can reach a lot of people. I can really specify who I want to reach, and by watching my video, they know who I am. It's not like a cold lead. So if they're opting in, if they're getting on my list, then they truly, they want the information that I'm giving, not some capture page that's cold and they don't know who it is. So Facebook pay-per-click has been huge for me. I used to do really well with Google pay-per-click until they banned everybody, and I don't use Google anymore. But Facebook has been good. I have to say I've really enjoyed doing Facebook stuff, and that's worked. As far as free stuff, of course, I have my blog, I have my video channel. I do video marketing. I pretty much run everything back into my blog whenever I can. But I use that more for branding than I do for actually lead generation.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I mean, video is definitely very strong in terms of creating your own brand and creating rapport with people that want to see you, and branding yourself. So yeah, so that's huge. Katrina, I'm sure you have another question coming up here.
Yeah, I do actually. Mary's got a question for you, and this kind of ties into what we were just talking about. Was how do you share your time equally between your main job and your MLM business? Like, how do you balance that? You kind of talked about that a little bit, just kind of fitting it into the nooks and crannies. Is there anything else you want to elaborate on that one?
Yeah, and it almost seems like what I'm going to say goes opposite to the nooks and crannies thing, but it doesn't. The only way I can do it is I have to really compartmentalize my life. Okay, when I'm at my job, I'm at my job. When I'm doing my job, I'm in the lab. That's what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about business. I'm not taking calls. I'm not texting something to somebody. I'm focusing. And then when I'm in my business, I'm doing my business, and I'm not thinking about my job. I always think that how you're showing up in one part of your life is how you show up in all parts of your life. So I really try to compartmentalize as much as possible. It's not to say that during lunch I can't do something, but when I'm actually doing my job, I focus in on that and do the best job I can there, and then the same thing with my business.
Okay, that's a good answer, and it's really what it is. You do have to compartmentalize. You do have to separate the two.
Yeah,
you have to find the nooks and crannies, and you do have to find the block of time in which you honestly, you said it in the very beginning, you have to have the vision, and you have to have the vision so strong. It's not necessarily your why, but it's your vision, and it's got to pull you like nothing else. It's got to make you want to do something for your business. It's got to be like, I almost call it like just a commitment to yourself and what your ideals are for your own life. Because if you don't have anything pulling you to do this business, you won't do anything with it.
Yeah, and that's true of everybody, not just part-timers.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just in general. You've got to have a vision that pulls you, no matter where you're at. If you don't see where you're going, you'll stumble through. Now, Bernie's got another question, and I know that you've done a different marketing companies out there, and hers is kind of specific towards maybe the EMP system, but I know with My Lead System Pro, and there's some great marketing systems out there. Honestly, there are some fabulous. How does each one take a role in your life? Like, do you focus on two different type of marketing systems? Is it better to focus on one marketing system? What's been kind of your experience with being inside of these systems that you're using to help generate leads?
Mm-hmm. Well, I tried a bunch of them because I think they all are good, like you said. There's good things to all parts of them. I personally believe you kind of need to settle into one home, and I have been in one, and now I'm kind of shifting my focus onto Elite Marketing Pro because there's it's just a better fit for me at this point. I love MLSP. I love the guys over there. They love me. There's no problem, but I've just been shifting my focus over to Elite. For a couple of reasons, and I feel very, very comfortable with the new Ignition coaching thing of bringing my new people in there and getting them coached, something that I don't really have time to do. They take the reins and they do it for me, and that's one of the big things I'll tell you is if you want to save some time, you can orient your people, you can really get them settled, but to have somebody in there coaching them and again, setting them on the right path is a big deal for me. So I think you have to focus on one. I don't know. I do see people in a bunch of them, but I don't like to build teams in many different places. It's hard to keep track of everybody and what they need.
Yeah, and
especially part-time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with time, it's like how much time can you devote to one or the other? So you really do have to focus in on one traffic strategy. I think, especially for a part-timer, more so, would you say you have to focus in on just one traffic strategy, one marketing system, one MLM, and just kind of really drive that in?
Exactly. I don't know how people do more than one.
Are they successful at more than one? Probably not, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I've never been successful at doing it.
Yeah. I feel like that a dog chasing a squirrel or gets distracted like every single time. It's like squirrel. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm off over here, and yeah, just never works.
I will tell you. At one point, about 2 years ago, I was in 2 different marketing systems, 2 different MLMs, and I was trying 3 different traffic strategies, and I was getting nothing. I had no results. My mind was a jumble. I wasn't focused on anything. I couldn't keep up on anything, and it showed. I mean, I think people got the vibe from that.
Yeah. And I have to say real quick, throwing this in here, I think I got a question. Oh, hey, here's a good one. First off, they love all the notes behind you, and Hillary's been writing them down. So apparently everyone's going to copy down what's been behind you on that wall.
Awesome.
So that's a good thing. One of the questions, this is Nikki. This is actually a great question for you. This is probably the last question of the evening, depending on how long you run this one. Who has been your best supporters? Who have been your best mentors and supporters for you?
Oh,
who
that's
have been
awesome.
your best supporters? Could it be your wife? Who has been your best supporters?
Well, first and foremost, my wife, because she puts up with me, and she does all the stuff that has to be done around the house and all the other stuff while I can do my business. So I don't have to do the errands and that other stuff. Plus, she has a very keen marketing mind. She doesn't like to get in front of the camera. She doesn't like to kind of be front and center, but she's in my ear all the time, and she's always give me great ideas. So first and most, her. I would also say in terms of people, I mean, I can mention people on here, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Bob, I'm getting a little feedback from you. Or
yeah, I'm
getting
hearing
a little
it too
feedback
just now.
actually from Doug. Doug's giving a little feedback real quick.
I'll plug in headphones.
Okay.
So in terms of people, going back to my early days, I would say it was Jay Kubasek and Aaron Parkinson, who were the co-founders of Carbon Copy Pro, because they were the first ones to show me what's possible. And I mentioned at some point in my journey that I started following the people who I really needed to plug into, and those people have been really Diane Hochman, Vanessa Duplessis, Ray Higdon, those 3. And then lately Nick Halbner has been buzzing in my ear as well. So really those 4 people I consider like my team that I go to when I need something, and they're just amazing people. They're so giving and they're so supportive, and I owe them a lot.
Do you think that's important to have that group of support, those mentors around you that you can go to and ask questions to?
See this? That's my number one saying. Success leaves clues. If you're part-time or even full-time, and you're not taking advantage of what other people know, then you're totally missing the boat. And I do a whole training on how to get close to people and how to get their attention and stuff. So I don't have time for that now, but you have to leverage other people's knowledge. You just have to. It'll shorten your learning curve tremendously, and there's no time to do it all yourself. I don't care if you're part-time or full-time. You have to you have to leverage what other people know and use it to help you in your business.
So Bob, how can we find you online?
I'm everywhere. No.
Yes, but how specifically?
I know. Probably the best place is over at my blog. It's bobandrosemary.com, ROSEMARY.com. That's the best place. That's where I have most of my trainings, and that's how you can get on my list if you want to do that. And yeah, that's my home.
Awesome. Well, Doug, we are down to the last 10 seconds. Do you want to wrap this up real quick for us?
Wow,
Sure.
Wow,
Yeah.
that went fast.
I know, it does. It goes so fast. It's unbelievable. So, well, Dr. Bob, you've now replaced Dr. Phil as the the guru of the internet here. So we thank you for that. Yeah, tons of golden nuggets here for people to take away. I hope everybody's taking notes. If not, they'll be able to catch the replay. And Katrina, you can share with people where they can catch that replay, because I always forget, and you have a better knowledge of that. But go to, what was it, bobandrosemary.com? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, bobandrosemary.com. And they can find you on Facebook too, right?
Yeah. That's it. That's where I hang out the most.
Okay, is it the same type of thing, Bob and Rosemary? Facebook.com/Bob and Rosemary. We found a common theme with a lot of
Hold
leaders.
on, you gotta go. We gotta go. We're down. So guys, catch us next week. Next week is gonna be awesome. We got Matt Crystal joining us next week from the EMP system. This is an exclusive. He's never been on camera and interviewed by anybody in the system, so this is going to be a must attend. Get there, be there. Find us on Google+, join us Elite Marketing Pro, and find us on iTunes, Elite Marketing Pro 29-Minute Challenge. We'll see you guys next week, and we're out.